How to deal with a critical spouse, the whys and hows of criticism. Unfortunately, conflict within marriage is an inevitable part of life. There'll always be something to fight about, and there will always be something that you disagree with about how your partner handles things, reacts to things, or even just his or her thoughts on things. But it doesn't mean that you're in a failing marriage. And it also doesn't mean that there can be no true happiness within marriage. The thing about criticism that's hard to swallow is the fact that it can be beneficial. Although no one likes to hear criticism, the bottom line is that it's sometimes necessary to better ourselves, better our relationships, and to express frustration. But there's also an important distinction to make when thinking about criticism and when planning to give criticism. When you realize how much it hurts to be criticized in a way that feels as if it's an attack or, as it's becoming known, hostile criticism, it may become easier to keep yourself from giving criticism in a hostile tone or in a way that's meant to degrade your partner. While some criticism is beneficial to relationships, there are many more ways that criticism can tear us down within our one relationship that's supposed to be the most safe. Everyone responds to criticism differently. There are so many variables that are all confounding that we may never truly understand just what it is about criticism that really gets under our skin, or why it sometimes feels as if our spouses can't seem to help themselves from criticizing us. A recent study found that even in MRI imaging, the response to criticism varies from person to person, based on personality type as well as other environmental variables that haven't even begun to be measured yet. The reason that this is important is because that means that our spouses may not realize that they are even doing it. What we take as a criticism could truly just be the way they've decided to approach a situation that frustrated or upset them. Without the ability to communicate within our relationships, there can be no room for growth or understanding. On the flip side of that coin, it is also important to note that just because we feel as if we are expressing our feelings in a neutral way without attacking our partner, he or she may not feel the same way. When we say, "I didn't really like that hamburger," he may think we just told him that he's a horrible cook and you can't stand to eat his meal. This leads to him becoming defensive and sometimes even going on the offensive and saying something to intentionally hurt your feelings, all because he didn't understand that the comment was simply a comment. There was no real criticism of him made. Things like this occur quite frequently in marriage. Dr. John Gottman has a really good rule for relationships in the form of ratio 5:1. 5:1 seems to be the magic ratio when it comes to relationships, and it simply reminds us that negative comments and words are remembered and felt much sharper than positive ones. For every one negative comment that's made within the confines of our relationships, it takes 5 positive comments to take away the sting and hurt of that one comment. When we remember that we must lovingly remind our spouses that they are still a wonderful and positive part of our life, it becomes easier to understand that some criticism isn't criticism, and a lot of criticism isn't necessary. With healthy communication and an understanding of the benefits of criticism that's done in a non-hostile way, our relationships will improve and we won't automatically take criticism as a hit to our psyche and persona.